So TJ and I just unpacked another big pallet. And while we were unpacking it, we actually got into a long tangent about some of my wholesale and liquidation horror stories. Those were super fun to relive. We decided to give some tips on how to find good liquidation and good wholesale, all the tips and things that I've learned over the last 6 years of doing this. So if you're curious to learn about some of my past mistakes and things that I do now and things I look out for now when I'm searching for liquidation or wholesale to buy, definitely stick around. I'm gonna jump right into all of that after we have a quick word from Stash. Thanks so much to Stash for sponsoring this portion of my video. I know for many of us, investing can seem really overwhelming because we know it's important, but we might not know where to start. And the sad truth is, if we just keep our money in our savings account, it's losing value because of inflation. But that's when I discovered Stash, which is an app that makes it extremely easy to get started with investing. With just a few bucks, you can start your savings and investment portfolio right on your phone and get a lot of really helpful and informative advice along the way. Stash puts my savings and investments on autopilot with automatic withdrawals right from my bank account. And you can choose from over 3,000 different stocks and ETFs to start your investment portfolio. Again, with great advice from Stash along the way. Right now, Stash has a special bonus offer for my subscribers. If you click the link in my description below and deposit just $1, you'll get a $50 bonus to start investing. Sign up now and start growing your investment portfolio today, simply and easily with Stash. Thanks again to Stash for sponsoring this portion of my video, and now back to the rest of my content. Let me give my tips on how to find liquidation. The full unboxing will be a separate video that's dropping soon. Those just take me like 1,000 hours to edit. But in the meantime, I thought I would compile all of our tips because that actually ran pretty long. Put that into a video and release that first, and then the pallet video second. Sorry. Anyway, just clearing up any confusion.
What was your first liquidation?
My first liquidation was, okay, I was in a Facebook group. This was years ago. A Facebook group where wholesalers would advertise their stuff to the people in the group, resellers, right? I saw someone around Q4 or before Q4 selling toys by the pallet, and I thought, well, this is great. I'll get a bunch of toys. How could toys go wrong? And I bought 200 to 300 units, and I paid like at least $1,000 for everything, or two by the time.
But the shipping,
all the shipping was added in.
The shipping,
so probably closer to 2.
It was a Gaylord.
It was a Gaylord of toys.
Box of like. How big is that? For people who don't know what a Gaylord is,
like a 5 by 5 by 5.
I've never heard the term before either. Yeah. 5 by 5 by 5 cube box. Yeah. Shipping was like $400.
Yeah, it was really expensive.
So when you're buying these pallets, shipping is going to cost a lot.
It is expensive.
If you can't find them locally.
Yeah, exactly. Locally, which is my first tip, is find stuff locally if you can.
Yeah.
Because if it's only local, the competition will be way less, and you can go pick it up in person. You don't have to pay the extra fees. You don't have to coordinate, figure out how to get the Gaylord to your garage, or if you have an apartment, it's really hard. So
you have to park on the street for a week while you sort it out.
And this was unmanifested, but I figured it was toys, so I'd be good. But the liquidator counted these tiny Hatchimals.
That sounds right.
But they were tiny little eggs, $1 or $2, like retail. And he counted those as units. So I had like 100 of those. That was half my Gaylord. And the rest was stuff that like was retail $10.
$10 like cardboard puzzles.
Oh, I just donated all of the toys pretty much to this wonderful woman who works with refugees, and they gave them to refugee children at Christmas. And I thought, you know, the retail price was $10 to $20, and they weren't bad things. They were like Paw Patrol puzzles, the little Hatchimal things, and I just donated them because I was like, I can't sell them, and I'm angry. And I tried to leave a bad review for this wholesaler in the Facebook group, and then he messaged me and was like super angry, like, why are you putting me on blast? And I said, like, well, because you sent me stuff that wasn't like worth anything.
Well, it had like a guarantee with it, didn't it?
It did.
Was like guaranteed like 6,000 in retail or something.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And it wasn't at all.
It maybe retailed for like 1,500 or something.
And this liquidator didn't know I had like an audience I could have put him on blast with, but I just didn't, and it was not a great experience. I mean, lesson learned on that one. But again, the only way to find good people is to try it out. So that was just a lesson that I learned.
So, doesn't mean they're all going to be that way.
Yeah.
But, I mean, that is one avenue, is you can try to go online to these Facebook groups.
Yeah, so that is one avenue.
Find good ones. But
try to go connect with people on Facebook, but I would just strongly encourage you to go local as much as possible. Like, if it's a national liquidator, if it pulls up on the front page of Google, bad idea. Like liquidation.com is totally a mixed bag, and that's another place that I've sourced. I got a bunch of stuff on liquidation.com. Xbox controllers, I tested them one by one on my computer using Steam, and the ones that worked, I put in a pile, and the ones that didn't work, I put in another pile. I think I still have a bunch of controllers.
Oh my gosh, that was like 3
It was years ago. I paid around $3,000 for 100 of them, I think. Yeah. So I paid $30 a unit, and they were selling on Amazon at the time for like close to 60, even used. So I was like, okay, this is great. They were Xbox One controllers. And I put all the ones that were working in a pile and all the ones that weren't. And all the ones that were working, tested and cleaned and intact.
Which took you...
That took me a
day.
I think I was up all night for a few days.
Yeah.
I got them wrapped all nice and I sent them to Amazon. And they did sell out in about a day. So they sold very quickly.
Wow.
But half of them were returned.
Oh man.
And I don't know why. Like, I tested them. I don't know why they were all returned. I did the joystick, I tested all the buttons, and everything seemed to work fine. I don't know if people just thought because I had the buy box they were new and then they got it pre-owned and they got mad. Like, I don't know. I even got a couple back that were broken beyond repair that I know I did not send that out. So they probably kept mine and sent back. At least a few of them did that. Literal nightmare. And that was liquidation.com. So I'm not...
That was a few thousand lost.
I don't know. I think I broke even on that one.
Oh, okay.
So I think I broke even when it all came down to it, but I still have a bunch of controllers that don't work that I need to just sell as is on eBay. I've bought from a lot of liquidators, and this was, again, found just locally scoping things out and trying it out. But that doesn't mean that this has always been great, because I've bought a few pallets from here where I lost about $4,000. When I picked it up, I bid up high because I thought everything in it was in new condition, and it wasn't. And
it was a video game lot.
It was a video game lot.
I think you thought they were newer games. Like
I thought they were all brand new. I thought they were all in their plastic, but they were pre-owned in plastic.
And they don't disclose everything. It's kind of just like you look at the pictures and you take a guess.
Yeah. Yep. So because of that, it was all pre-owned. I ended up just lotting everything together that I could and selling it on eBay. And I took anything that I could send to Amazon. It was a huge nightmare, and it just didn't work out. So that was a lesson learned. And so at these auctions, if they are advertising good stuff, the bidding gets up really high. And I have paid $5,000 plus for pallets in liquidation. And if you get that and it's fake, because you don't know if the stuff in here is real or fake until you get it authenticated, which is a very real possibility.
And there's no returns either.
Yeah.
You're going just off some grainy pictures. It's as is,
and you're going off of some pictures.
And crossing your fingers.
And so I paid $5,000, and it turns out quite a few of the highest end things that I was looking for. Like, let's just tell the story behind this Hermes blanket, okay?
I've never known anything about this.
Okay, we're gonna go ahead and tell a story now.
This is a blanket you got?
If this Hermes blanket, yes. If this Hermes blanket were real, this would be worth like $3,000, okay?
Oh my
She's
gosh.
not real. So the reason I bid on one of the pallets was because I saw this and I was like, oh my gosh, like if this is real. No, she's a fake. I even have the fake tags still attached. This is not real at all. That was emotional damage, 100%. So I was like, I'm just gonna keep it and put it in my office and it'll look pretty. It's an authentic Hermes. Those are some of my stories.
Well, you also had one, I remember one where it looked like there was some Louis Vuitton on top. Okay, these Louis on top though, that's gonna pay the pallet off. As soon as you got home, you pulled out the Louis, looked at them really close.
Yeah.
And they were total fakes.
Completely fake.
Gut punch.
All fake, yeah.
You lost money on that one too.
I lost money there too. But then there's some where you dig down deep and there are some authentic things, like the ones, okay, I've gotten really lucky with the ones I've shown you guys. I mean, lucky for some and mid for others, but the ones, gosh, I got so lucky with a few of those that I've shown you, and that's not normal. So I'm just letting you guys know, it was great for YouTube, but it's always a luck of the draw. It's a gamble when it comes to these things. It's really fun to do if you're like on camera and you're sharing it with an audience, but if you're at home, like I didn't share these deals before on any of my social media, and I was crying because like it's not that exciting to watch me cry in the fetal position knowing that things are fake.
Maybe by the time this is over we'll be crying.
Yeah.
But it was a small
Those are my stories.
Luckily. So just to recap.
Yeah.
What are Facebook?
Facebook, you can connect. Look on Google Maps near you and look for auction, wholesale, and just get to know people in your area. That is going to be your best bet. If they don't ship worldwide, if they don't ship national, they're just local. I've had some good connections with people who sell different things than me. So they'll get electronics and I'll just connect with them, and they don't do clothes. And so they'll have like a little shop that they set up or a garage sale they put up every single week, and they just know, hey, I'm the clothing lady, and they'll sell their clothing to me for cheap because they don't want to deal with it. But again, that's local, and they got their wholesale stuff in Las Vegas, which they would drive to once a week to get their stuff and bring it back up.
Get a big truckload.
So connecting with people locally, I cannot encourage you enough to do that.
When you go out Saturdays, that's what you're doing. You're going to garage sales, but also asking people, where did you get all this random stuff?
Yep.
And you find out they are a buyer of pallets themselves.
Mm-hmm. And I tell them what I do, and I share my story, and we connect, we exchange numbers, and then, I mean, all of that leads to opportunities later on. You just have to put yourself out there, and I think that's like the boring side of it. I think that's a side of it not a lot of people want to hear because it is kind of uncomfortable and it's hard to do. There is no magic secret, hey, do this and you'll instantly be successful. It just takes a lot of work, a lot of trial and error. And when it comes down to it, still my favorite ways to get inventory are thrift stores and yard sales and garage sales. Mm-hmm. It's the most fun, it's the most ROI, it is the most successful consistently. It's the safest. You know exactly, I'm paying the least. Exactly.
Every time. What do you call that store where you got all those like
yeah, that was
things?
The same.
So what is that? What do you call that kind of store? I feel like there was a name for that type of store where they're always buying wholesale in bulk and just trying to offload it.
I think those are liquidators. So like you can look up wholesale liquidators and just small, even like mom and pop things. And
auction houses too.
Auction houses, and you can go talk to them. So there was a really good source I had for a while. I went and bought a ton of like these drill bits. And they sold like for $15 each on Amazon, and I had about...
You bought them for like $1.
Bought them for 25 cents each.
Oh, 25 cents.
Because I was able to talk to them and be like, can you bring it down? And they did.
Hundreds of them.
I got hundreds of them. They sold great. That was a really great source because they get stuff bulk, and they're sending off their things that they like to whatever, eBay, Amazon, and they just have a little shop, usually in some kind of storage unit or somewhere not so, it's not a glossy, glamorous shop location, hole in the wall usually. Look in your local news classifieds, see if you see consistently every week someone's advertising, hey, we have new inventory, new stuff in, and just go look around and see what they have and talk to the owners and talk to the people running it, and you'll be surprised who you meet and what they can offer you for really cheap. They're just looking to offload stuff. So if you connect with people, you should just have an endless amount of inventory. If you can just connect with enough people, they'll be messaging you and contacting you. Hey, I have stuff. I just got stuff in. All of it hinges on putting yourself out there, putting your feet on the ground, and making those connections. Otherwise, it's pretty pointless. Right?
That's hard to do.
It's hard to do, and it's way easier just to go on Google and go to liquidation.com, but you're not gonna. That won't be the most money. That'll be a very slim
There's a lot of videos on YouTube where someone bought like a $3,000 lot from liquidation.com, and they open it and it's fun, but it's always like $5 or $10 just trash, and they might have made like $500 if they can even sell all that stuff.
Yeah,
I haven't seen a lot of promising liquidation.com.
There is no magic ticket with any of this stuff. There is no perfect source that will always give you a great return. It just doesn't exist.
They say like, where do you get your stuff? Everywhere I go, I'm getting like garbage or ripped off. But you're in the same boat.
I'm in the same boat.
You've also gotten garbage and ripped off.
Absolutely. All of that money, I just called my tuition for this job, like my tuition to learn. There's certain lessons you can't learn any other way. You just have to put in the money and have to take the risks and see for yourself, like, oh, that didn't work out.
I just thought of another one. You were looking around one time, I guess online or something, or it was like on the local classifieds, and you stumbled across like a going out of business sale, and you drove up there and talked to them, and they had all these car parts. And you had sold you were selling car parts for years because it was a slow trickle, but our whole garage was full of car parts.
Yeah.
But that was another thing. You were like it was like the Craigslist equivalent. Well, we have a local site, but it's like Craigslist for Utah, basically.
Yeah.
And that was a good source too, but again, that's a lot of searching and digging, going out of business sale or whatever.
Yeah.
But you bought $4,000 of car parts. Yeah. I'm sure you made 10, 20,000 on those. Maybe that's even low.
That's probably more. Like, but it was
it took
a slow
2 years to sell them
burn,
all too.
But listed all once, and so that was another. Yeah, that was a local find. Someone was offloading a bunch of car parts, and I took the risk for $6 a part. I got
600 parts.
600 parts.
Yeah.
And I saw that they sold for more than that. Lots of lessons learned that way. Lots of lessons about how to sell car parts. No returns accepted, or paid returns at least. It was, again, a learning experience, knowing you got to have the storage space. You got to be able to be patient. But 1 or 2 would sell a day. And eventually, a couple years later, they were all gone. Again, though, there's just I still think the best way to get inventory and to start on eBay and to do this is to go to yard sales, garage sales, and thrift stores. And then how to grow from there is to make as many connections as you can along the way. Don't be shy. Put your name out there. Give your card to people. Be okay with taking a risk and knowing it's not going to pay off every time. And that's just part of this business.
You can afford the losses now. It would have been really devastating to have a $4,000 video game loss. Like, that would have been a tough blow.
I can absorb it now, but it was really tough back then because I was still growing. Now, and also this is 6 years in. I am 6 years into this business to grow it to what it is in the channel and everything else. And it's just, there is no secret sauce. It's taken me this long to get here. So
yeah, like if we knew of a constant source of good pallets, we'd be buying them every 2 days.
Yeah.
And we'd be staying up all night to list them to make room for the next one.
Yeah.
But they're not all winners.
They're not all winners. And
no matter, it looks like it maybe, but it's not the case.
YouTube is, I'm showing you guys the best stuff. I'm trying to show the most exciting things. I want to show things that are enjoyable to watch. So yeah, I'm not always going to show like the losses and the less exciting things. It's just part of the job.
Yeah.
So there you go, a pretty candid conversation all about some of my hugest mistakes with wholesale, things that I look out for. I think to summarize, what's worked best for me is finding things locally, testing things out, and just kind of knowing that you're going to make some bad buys as you educate yourself in this process. Just because something is liquidation or wholesale doesn't mean it's going to be a gold mine every time. You're going to make mistakes and learn from them through this process, and the mistakes are a lot more expensive than just a bad buy at a thrift store. They're often in the thousands, and because things liquidated are sold as is, you really don't have a lot of options for getting your money back. So it is an educated guess, an educated risk, but if you are buying from auctions, if you're buying locally, if you get to know the people that you're buying from, I think it's a lot safer to say you're gonna get better stuff. I think the best overarching message I could get out to you guys about finding good liquidation is the more easily accessible it is, the lower your profit margins will be, most likely. And I wish you the best of luck. I definitely think there's enough opportunity for everyone out there, but because it is more uncomfortable, I think fewer people are willing to do it. Not to mention more expensive. Thanks again, you guys. I appreciate you. Don't forget to like and subscribe and all those wonderful things that really do help my channel out a lot. Take care, you guys, and I will catch you next time.